Nigeria. When you are going to school, it's either you become a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer. Any other thing is not promotion. So my father actually told me that he wants me to become engineer. So today I have become a comediological engineer.
I would like you to introduce yourself to us.
My name is Olufemi Olusesi Michael. I am from Aboki, Ogun State, and I had my primary school education at Army Children's School, Azare, in Bauchi State.
All right.
From there I proceeded to Pilot Junior Secondary School, Azare, in Bauchi State. Finished my secondary school at the Demonstration Secondary School, the same as in Bauchi State.
Okay.
And after my secondary school education, because I came from a family where we were born with no spoon at all. You know, some people will tell you they were born with silver spoon. Mm-hmm. We didn't have any spoon at all. Okay. So my father will usually say, well, I have sent you to secondary school, I've tried. He will tell you his own father didn't even send him to school at all. So if you think you want to further your education, it's on you. I, for one, had made up my mind that I was going to go to the university, even though there was no money and there was no assurance of anyone who would sponsor my education.
Okay.
I have to stay, off school for like 9 years.
Wow.
After my secondary school, it was after 9 years that I sought for admission into the University of Calabar. But during this period, I did a lot of menial jobs, one of which was teaching. I actually taught for 7 years. I taught in a primary and secondary school. And that will be one of the best experiences I've had in my life, because it gives me joy today that some of the children I taught in primary school are graduates today. I have a medical doctor among them. I have accountants. I have them, just to mention but a few.
Wow. One
of them actually came to serve in the last 2 years. She served in Abuja and she lived in my house for the whole of her service year. Wow. So it gives me joy to see the children I taught in primary 2, primary 3, primary 4 and 5, are today graduates. So after that, I proceeded to the University of Calabar. I got admitted into the University of Calabar, where I studied social work, and I graduated 2012. Interesting enough, I graduated with some of the children I taught in primary school. some of them even graduated before me. It's funny. But it's been an amazing journey so far. As a student in the University of Calabar, because like I said, my parents couldn't afford to, be part of my education, I had to take to different menial jobs. I remember getting to Calabar to write my post-UME exams. I got to that town with only 40,000 naira. That was year 2006. And after the post-UME, I didn't even pass the exam. I wasn't given admission. You understand, that year. So I told myself, this 40,000 naira, if I keep it with me, it's going to finish. What do I do? What kind of work? What kind of business can I start? Then I discovered that Okada business, that's motorcycle transportation, was lucrative in Calabar. So I looked for a place where they sell motorcycle. Fortunately or unfortunately for me, my money was not enough to get me one motorcycle. So I had to start going from one person to the other in my church. I remember I met a customs officer who had served in Idiroko State, where I was teaching. I told him about my plight. He told me he doesn't have money, but he can stand for me as a guarantor if I find anywhere they sell motorcycles. So he put on his clothes, followed me to a shop where they sell motorcycle. They didn't know us. They don't know the man. They don't know me. But the man selling the motorcycle was anonymous enough. He collected my 40,000 and gave me the motorcycle. At that time, the motorcycle was about 60-something thousand naira. I can't remember exactly. So we had to owe him like 20-something. And he gave me 2 months to pay. I started doing Okada as a student. I was riding the bike myself. I'll go for my lectures. After lecture, I'll come out of the school, ride. Then if I have evening class, I go back to school. That was how I was doing it. But something happened along the line. About 3 months after I got the motorcycle, before I even was able to pay the balance, the then governor of Cross River State, Donald Duke, came up with a that every Okada rider in that state must have his motorcycle painted yellow. You must buy a helmet, and there is a government helmet that the Cross River State government brought up, and then you must wear vests. So that vest and the helmet and the color of your motorcycle automatically shows that you are an Okada rider. So if I go to school with my yellow bike, they already know that I'm an Okada rider. That kind of a thing. It was somewhat ridiculous. It was somewhat ridiculous. And the problem is not even that. The problem is the fact that you have to buy the helmet and the vest from the government. It was about 13,000 naira. I didn't have it. And if you don't have it, you can't ride. If you ride, your motorcycle will be impounded, will be taken from you. I had to pack the motorcycle for another 2 weeks to raise 13,000 naira from friends, families. I was just calling everybody. I was able to raise that 13,000 naira, bought the helmet and the vest. So I started the work. That was when I was able to pay the complete part of the money. But funny enough, as God will have it, within a year, as a student, in my second year, I already have 3 motorcycles.
So you became an employer of labor.
I became an employer of labor. And that year that the motorcycle became free, the government came up with another policy that they don't want motorcycle in the state capital anymore. So I had to look for a way to sell my motorbikes. I sold the 3 motorbikes. I bought a car. I started doing taxi, and to the glory of God, 2 years again later, I had 3 cars. As a student, this was in my 4th year. I had 3 cars as a student. So it's been a very wonderful journey for me all through that period. The name Aboki for Christ, how I came about it. Like I said, I did my primary school, secondary school in the north, Azari, to be precise. I grew up there, and because I grew up among houses with my grandmother, I lost my Yoruba accent, some sort of. I could speak Yoruba, but when I speak Yoruba, it sounds like an Hausa person.
Okay. So
whenever I come home, travel back to Lagos to my parents, and I'm speaking Yoruba, they laugh at me. My siblings laugh at me like, hey, revelation saw Yoruba be all my Aboki, So they start calling me Aboki. The year 2003, I attended a program in my church headquarters, at the headquarters of Winners Chapel in Canaan Land, and I met a comedian who performed in that church. His name is Holy Malam.
Okay.
He performed a wonderful, clean comedy, and he was using Hausa accent. And I told myself, what this guy is doing, I can do it too. Because his own accent was not very strong, because he doesn't speak Hausa. I grew up in the north. I speak Hausa even more than I speak it. So I decided to start doing comedy. When we have youth programs, maybe all night or wherever, I'll tell my pastor I can, spice it up with comedy. So they gave me opportunity. The first night they were to give me opportunity, they asked me, what name should we call you? So I announced that they should call me Aboki, because my siblings were calling me Aboki already. And I added for Christ to be. Being the fact that I have made up my mind, I was going to toe the gospel line of comedy. So that was how the name Aboki for Christ came about.
I like to ask, how did you discover that you could do comedy, that you could make people laugh? How did you discover that?
I used to be in the drama unit in my church.
Okay.
And no matter the role given in any drama, even if I'm to act as Jesus, I use the Hausa accent. Okay. Any role you give to me, I use Hausa accent. And I discovered that the accent make people laugh a lot. The way I speak English, they laugh a lot. Even if I'm speaking Yoruba, I use the Hausa accent to speak the Yoruba. So it's funny to people. So coupled with the fact that I now attended, that program in Canaan land, I now saw Holy Malam doing stand-up comedy. I told myself, this accent I'm using in drama, I can actually use it in this stand-up comedy and it will work. So in all honesty, I didn't know I could be a stand-up comedian, but I knew all along that as an actor in the drama unit, I know I was funny. So I never planned to become a comedian. It just happened.
You studied social work in the university. That's the course you studied.
Yes.
What informed that course?
Yes.
What inspired you to go and study social work?
So, this one now is a very funny story because I never planned. As a matter of fact, at that time, I don't even know what is or who a social worker is.
Okay.
I've never heard of the course. I never know anything about it. I actually applied for political science.
All right.
And I wasn't given admission that 2006. So 2007, I did jump again, and I was now given this course. That was because I was available. It wasn't like it was what I planned to study. Okay. I told myself, instead of wasting another 1 year, just enter and start. At that time, I understood in Nigeria that it's not about what you even study. It's about what you have out there. It's about what you can bring to the table. So I just decided, okay, let me just go to school, get the certificate, or get a job anyhow. So it wasn't what I planned to study. It wasn't.
And it seems to me you've never used it to work. You've never used that certificate.
No, I've not used it professionally.
Yeah.
But I would say that somehow I find myself practicing, because what the job of a social worker is to help reduce. We cannot eradicate social problems. What are social problems? Social problems are the problems that affect a significant number of people living in a geographical area within a period of time. Okay. Now, social problems may include social vices, drunkenness. Even in my practice as a comedian, I discovered that it is an aspect of social work, helping people to come out of the state of disequilibrium. There are people that are mentally down, depressed. There are people that are emotionally down. As a comedian, your duty is to lift up their spirit and help them to come out of that state of.
Can you tell us one of your most funny childhood memories?
My childhood funniest memory will be the fact that, I don't know if I should say this on this platform, my grandmother was a businesswoman. She has a very big shop where we sell everything. There is nothing my grandmother doesn't sell. From clothes to plates, breakable plates. She sells plastics, she sells shoes, she sells kerosene, she sells broom, she sells cigarette, she sells chewing gum, she sells everything. So there's no how she can take stock of everything she sells. Sometimes when we sell things, we don't pocket the money and chop the money. So sometimes when I remember that experience, it's always very funny. There was a time before she passed, I went to visit her in Lagos, and I was reminding her of some of those things. I said, Mama, do you remember that time that we used to sell stuff and we don't drop the money? She said, you nothing. Say, I don't know. I know now. I was just allowing you people to enjoy. It was one of the funniest moments.
Okay. Can you tell us 3 values of virtue you value the most in people?
The first would be integrity.
Okay.
The second is selflessness.
Okay.
Selflessness in the sense that you do what you do for the benefit and the general good of others. Okay? And the third will be godliness. Love for God and the fear of God.
What is that one food you can eat over and over again? I mean, your favorite food?
Rice.
Rice?
Yes.
White rice, jollof rice, fried rice.
I actually, I love jollof rice, but I think I prefer white rice with stew at any time, any day. I can eat rice 5 times in a day, as long as it's sweet and delicious.
Okay.
We get it.
Yeah. What are your 3 major motivations in life? What are the things that motivate you the most in life? Let me give you an example. A lot of people are afraid of poverty. I mean, in our part of the world. Do you get what I mean? So because of that, because I don't want to be poor, they do everything possible, either clean or unclean things, do you get it, to avoid poverty.
In all honesty, I also came, like I told you from the beginning of this session, that I came from a not so well-to-do family, and so I wouldn't want to suffer what my parents suffered, and I would not want my children to go through the kind of things I went through. So giving them the best of life is a motivating factor for me. You understand? Giving my yet unborn children the best of life is a motivating factor for me. Also knowing the fact that a lot of destinies are connected to mine. Their success depends absolutely on my success. There are people who will never succeed until I succeed because their success is tied to my destiny. So that's another factor that motivates me. Just like God told Abraham in Genesis chapter 12, he said, I will bless you, I will make you great. He said, in you shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So there are people that their blessing is tied to my blessing. Until I'm blessed, they may not experience their own blessing because their blessing is in my blessing. So those are some of the factors that motivate me. I can't afford to fail, because if I fail, it is not just me that failed. There are people whose destiny is connected to mine that I have failed also. So those are the things that push me to want to reach for the zenith.
Happiest career moments. Happiest career moments.
Should I say only one? You want only one, right?
You can say more than one.
Well, okay, that would be the first one. Will be when I had the privilege to perform in front of all of the senators of the 8th Assembly. All of our senators. They had a conference in a.k.a. State, and the government hosted them to a dinner, and I was invited to perform. That night, I had the standing ovation of all of them. They stood up to cheer me up. That was an amazing moment. The second one will be when I co-MC the 80th birthday of our former president, Olufemi Olusesi. You understand?
I watched that.
And the third one will be when I had the privilege of ministering before Pastor Adeboye and Bishop David Oyedepo, also in a.k.a. State. Those will be my most exciting moments. As a matter of fact, they are more exciting to me than all of the countries I've visited.
Top 3 best decisions in life.
The first and the best will be the decision to follow Christ.
Okay.
Because in following him, I have discovered myself. It was when I came into Christ that I found myself, okay, and I discovered purpose that I am now pursuing. Even though I have not, maximized the pursuit, I know I am a work in progress, okay. Second decision will be when I decided to leave my comfort zone. I told you I was teaching. That was in the Ogun State. This was a place where I have families around. I have people who love me. who cares for me. I live in a free house. I eat free food. If I need 5,000, I know who to call. I know who to reach out to, and that had a way of, limiting myself from going beyond where I was. You understand? So I attended a program where the pastor preached, and the topic of that program I will never forget. Of his sermon was "Get Thee Out." He was talking about leaving your comfort zone, leave the place where they are giving you free food, leave the place where people are helping you solve your problem, leave the place where you even know people at all, go to where you don't know anybody, just like Abraham. He actually used Genesis chapter 12, verse 1 to 3, when God told Abraham to leave his family and go to a place he doesn't know about. And in chapter 13, Abraham was blessed in all things. So after that sermon, I started thinking, I need to leave my comfort zone if truly I want to attain true success and riches. So that was when I decided to take JAMB. I filled in University of Calabar as my first choice and second choice, knowing nobody in Calabar. From Ogun State, I chose Calabar. I didn't know anybody. And when I got to Calabar, I would wake up in the morning. I needed to bath. I needed to go to school. I needed to eat. I needed to maybe do one or two things, and I have just 100 naira on me. How will I be able to do all of these things with just 100 naira? That will help me, my thinking faculty, to expand. I will think more, I will be creative and innovative. I think those are the best decisions I have made in life. Living my comfort zone.
That's great. If you are not in your present career, what other career would it have been?
I would have either been a lawyer or a pastor, because I knew all along from childhood that I was good with my mouth. I know I am with talking. You understand? So law was actually my first dream and my first love, but because of where I grew up and where I schooled, my primary and secondary school, I never had the orientation that I needed to do literature in English to study law. So I finished secondary school without doing literature in English, and that hampered my dream of becoming a lawyer.
Okay. Your top 3 books.
Top 3 books. One will be the one written by Bishop David Oyedepo, Hidden Covenants of Blessing.
Okay.
Will be a book I read by Dr. Miles Monroe.
Okay.
Dr. Miles Monroe talked about potentials, discovery of potential.
Okay.
The third book, I can't remember the third one right now.
All right. 2 things you would like to correct in your past.
One will be the fact that I lived a very flamboyant, riotous lifestyle when God began to bless me. At a very young age, God blessed me, as in I touched money to the glory of God. But, because of youthful exuberance and lack of foresight, thinking that the money would keep coming the way it was coming, I was just, buying things that are unnecessary. There was a time I had up to 5 cars in a rented. I was living in a rented apartment. I had 5. This time around, I was no longer doing taxi. I'm already fully into comedy. I had 5 cars parked. It was one of them I left with my neighbor that has children, so he was using it for school runs and all. A career where you no longer make as much as you were making, and you have to fall back on what you invested in. And car was not an investment, sir. Car was not an investment. Sometimes I bought some landed properties. If not, I would have regretted my life sincerely, because those are some of the things I tell younger people now, especially entertainers that are rave of the moment. Oh, now that people are liking you and inviting you for all of the shows and you are making all of the money, bro, invest. Don't do all this show off that we do, buying cars to show off on social media, wearing all of the expensive clothes and shoes. It's not the in thing. It's not the in thing. So I regretted that sincerely. Because now I see younger comedians that were looking up to us, building houses, building estates, and some of us never even built one.
My next question, what would be your 5 takeaways on a getaway? What I mean by that is, what are the 5 things you will take with you? Not more than 5, apart from your dress. If you're going to go somewhere for a week and you only need 5 things, what 5 things will be most important to you that you can't do without?
My phone.
Okay.
Are you with me, sir?
Yes.
My phone, okay. My phone and charger is 1, right? Let us say 1. My phone and charger 1. Okay. I'll take my Wi-Fi, my internet, of course.
Okay.
Then I'll body spray, and then the 5th thing will be my toothbrush.
What will be your top 3 counsels, your top 3 advices for young people, probably in Nigeria, in Africa, or anywhere in the world?
The first will be that you should believe in yourself. Until you believe in yourself, no one will believe in you. Because it is the confidence that you exude, that people, receive from you. If you are not, if you don't not have self-confidence, people will not believe in you. Just believe in yourself. What is that thing you think you want to achieve? Believe you can achieve it. No matter how big the dream is, it is a possibility. I tell people, the reason God enabled your mind to be able to dream that big is because He has put in you all it takes to make that dream come to reality. So whatever you're doing, no matter your level, no matter your position, no matter your financial stand at the moment, believe that you can, and you definitely will. My philosophy, or what I believe, is whatever your mind can conceive, your hand can receive. Whatever you can perceive, you can always receive. So believe in yourself. That will be 1. Secondly, please go for skill. No matter how talented you are, until you develop these talents, it may not be very marketable. And even if you market it, it may not be as profitable as someone who is skillful. There is a place for talent, but there is also the place for skillfulness. Many people are talented, but they are not skillful. What do I mean? There are people who have raw talent. They are given. You understand? But there are people who grow or who groom or who train themselves to be better in this talent. When the 2 of them come to the field of play, you will always note the difference. You will always see the difference. So no matter how talented you are, please go for skill, go for knowledge, read books, ensure you develop yourself, because it is one thing to discover what your talent is. It's another thing to develop it. It's another thing to deploy it. So when talent is discovered, it should be developed before it is deployed. But many of us, as soon as we discover our talent, we want to start deploying for profitability. It is not about the profit first. If you grow it enough, the profit will come looking for you. And the 3rd one will be the God factor. No matter how talented you are, no matter how blessed you are, without God, you are just nothing. So never you forget that He is your creator, who already knows your end, even from your beginning. He knows the way to take you through, to navigate you through, to get to where He has predestinated for you. So always have the God factor behind your mind. Those will be my 3 best counsel to anybody right now.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so very much.